I hear a lot of politicians that are long on rhetoric and short on substance. I hear a lot of spin, but I don't see a lot of delivery. I get out of Wellington as quickly as possible on a Wednesday night or Thursday morning. I go to 2 or 3 towns on a Thursday, a Friday, and sometimes a Saturday. And I have some observations. And the first I'd say to you is, this is the best country on planet Earth in the world, period. And we have endless potential in this country. And I get to say that because as I go around the country seeing real everyday New Zealanders, I get to meet incredible people. And I see incredible people in the community who see the pain and the hurt and the frustration and the need, and they've decided to go deal with that and to help their fellow New Zealander incredibly well. I see young people and young entrepreneurs who have ambition and aspiration and want to build world-class businesses from New Zealand out into the world. And I meet with everyday Kiwis who actually are working incredibly hard, raising their kids to the best of their ability, contributing to their communities, and trying to get ahead and deal with all the ups and downs and the inevitabilities of life. And I feel incredibly inspired about that, because what I get to see is some talented, creative, determined New Zealanders who want to be able to get ahead. I get to be able to also get a sense that actually we are all in this together, that there is some obligation, we are mutually obligated to each other across New Zealand. We're a country of 5 million people, and we have this obligation to each other. We are invested in each other's success, and a sense that we are all in it together. Working together to be able to realise the potential that we've got in this country. I have to tell you, after travelling up and down the country, I feel utterly and completely that we are heading in the wrong direction. There is no doubt about it. That if we're really honest with ourselves, we're not actually realising all that endless potential that we have in this country. We're not actually solving the problems that actually makes people's lives easier and actually helps them get ahead. And if we're really honest, we're actually not being able to get things done as a government. This government is not getting things done that actually helps regular New Zealanders be able to get themselves ahead. And I think when you've got a time like we have in our history, right here, right now, with a huge amount of global and domestic uncertainty, what the people of New Zealand want is a national government that's going to strengthen our economy so that we actually have the foundation in place to be able to strengthen things like health and education and to be able to restore law and order in this country. We saw this week record low levels of business confidence since 1970, the lowest ever since 1970. We are seeing rapidly rising levels of interest rates because we have really stubborn and high levels of inflation. We're going to see the prospects of actually this country and this economy going into recession, which is incredibly frightening when we think about no economic growth, slowing economic growth, and possibly recession. And at the same time, we're going to be faced with rising levels of unemployment. And just think about that's the reality for many New Zealanders as they are looking ahead for the year ahead. So I think for us, we're going to be single-mindedly focused on a clear set of priorities that I think is what the New Zealand public expect from us to be able to deliver as their government right here, right now, of where we are in this moment in history, in our history of New Zealand. And that means that we're going to focus on 4 things, essentially. The first is that we are going to reduce the cost of living. Because if we don't tackle inflation, it gets a grip in an economy and it destroys livelihoods and it ruins an economy and it really has huge pain and suffering for people. And we've started to see that, and if we don't deal with that, it's going to be a big problem. Don't pass costs on to businesses that need to get passed on to consumers with higher prices. Make sure that we remove the bottlenecks, the immigration bottlenecks that are actually constraining growth, because economic growth is going to be what we desperately need as we go to recession to power this country and this economy back into growth. And so we need to make sure we release those immigration settings. Have disciplined spending. Make sure that every dollar delivers an outcome, not just as spent, but actually counts for something and improves people's daily lives. We do believe in inflation-adjusted tax brackets. We also think we should have the Reserve Bank single-mindedly focus on fighting inflation. That's how we have it, an inflation-fighting plan that's really there to make sure we can reduce the cost of living crisis that people are facing. We have to invest in education so our kids are set up to be able to realise the opportunities that they have in front of them, that this country will have in front of it over the next 20 to 50 years. We have to make sure that we are invested in our infrastructure and that we're building a future New Zealand that actually is going to be more productive, because we know when we invest in infrastructure, it has economic and social and environmental benefits at the same time. We have to really invest in science and innovation and technology so we create those higher value New Zealand products and services that we can go sell to the world to realise higher prices, which in turn drive to higher wages and salaries. We have to make sure that we can actually power up our businesses, because businesses are the lifeblood of New Zealand. And it's difficult being a business person in New Zealand. We have turned the country into a country of bureaucrats, and we need to liberate it so that business people can get on, grow their businesses, employ people, get higher wages, and power the economy up as we'll desperately need. And the final thing is we've got to deepen our international connections, because we talk about it often. We do not get rich selling stuff to each other here in New Zealand. We have fabulous New Zealand products and services, and we sit in the best part of the world. If you were to design a country and where to put it, you'd put it where we are, because the power economically and socially and culturally has moved from the Atlantic to the Pacific. And we are surrounded by the Americas, Asia and Australia, and with huge opportunities to sell our products and services to burgeoning middle classes up and down our part of the world and our region. But we also have to restore law and order, because it's rather perverse. 5 minutes away from a Labour Party conference on Wednesday night, another dairy was ram-raided here in Napier. And we'll go and visit, Mark and I'll go visit some of the ram-raided victims actually tomorrow. But I can tell you it's perverse that it's happening. And the question is, are we happy to accept that a 20% increase in violent crime, a 50% growth in gangs, a ram raid happening every 15 hours is the new normal here in New Zealand? We get to choose to have a different response to that. It doesn't have to become Southside Chicago. New Zealand, this is New Zealand. We do get to choose that it could be different, and we could make it so. We back our police big time. We want to make sure they've got the tools and the support that they need to be able to get on and do the job. We are serious about tackling gangs. There is nothing good about a gang. They want all the rights of being in New Zealand, but none of the responsibilities that go with that. And ultimately, we're going to make sure that we actually have a policy that makes interventions in young people's lives, serious young offenders, so that we can actually get them sorted and understanding that there are rights and responsibilities to New Zealand. And that's the point. We have rights and things that we get as Kiwis, but we also have responsibilities to each other and to our country. That's the social contract that we've had with each other since we formed this great country some time ago. At the moment, we're in a perverse situation. Spend more, hire more, worse outcomes: economy, health, housing, education, crime. It's a unique and unique skill set, to actually have more money, more resources, and deliver worse outcomes. And the New Zealand people, that's how we get to improve their lives. It's all about outcomes. You can talk about it as much as you like. You can have the best intentions, but if you can't deliver, and I honestly believe, it's not personal, this government hasn't got the skill or the ability to be able to deliver and to be able to get things done.